everyone, so my name is Catherine and I am back with another video. I was looking through YouTube and I saw somebody talking about their experience moving abroad, and specifically from the US to Australia, and that is exactly what I did back in 2018, and I thought that that would be a fun video to make and helpful to some of you guys. Back in 2017, I graduated from college. I got my undergraduate bachelor's degree, and I was thinking about what I wanted to do next, which is always the fun question that we get to deal with when we graduate college. And in the back of my mind, I knew that I wanted to go back to grad school and get a master's degree, but I didn't necessarily want to get it right away. And ever since I studied abroad with semester at sea in 2016, which I've done several videos about, I learned about just different ways that people have lived abroad and done different things abroad, and I've always wanted to try temporarily living abroad, and I thought that'd be such a fun thing to do, and definitely something I should do after I graduate because then I'm able to. And I found out about the working holiday visa that is available to Americans, and you can do this in Australia and New Zealand, and I specifically chose to go to Melbourne, which is in Southeast Australia. It is the second largest city after Sydney in Australia. And so when I graduated in 2017, I spent that summer traveling, and then that fall season just researching and applying to basically the visa application, as well as I'm not somebody that can basically just jump in and move abroad by myself. For me, I found programs that actually help you move, and that specifically their purpose, these organizations. So I found World Internships. I only did one internship and I wanted to get more experience. And when I heard about people just doing internships abroad, I thought, perfect, I will get experience in an industry that I'm interested in pursuing that relates to my degree I just got, but also get to live abroad. And that's what I went ahead and did with World Internships. And they also not only helped me find places to apply to, but they also helped me find a place to live. And in February of 2018, I went ahead and I flew to Australia. I loved being in Australia. I'm so happy that I did it, but I'm not gonna lie, it was like one of the most scary and intimidating things I've ever done. I remember being scared to do semester at sea when I studied abroad because I went with nobody that I knew, but that was like a study abroad program. I knew there were going to be other students, and it was a very structured and tailored program because I was signing up for classes, and it was specifically within a semester to go within my 4-year degree and all of this. But Australia, it was like you're just, I don't know, you're just going by yourself and you don't know who's gonna be there. And like I had a place to be and I had an internship set up, but I didn't have I wasn't surrounded by people my age and this and that. And my internship ended up being just like with 2 older adults that were old enough to be like my dads. So like finding friends is a whole nother thing. And I'm sorry this is all scrambled. When I arrived to Australia, I was definitely feeling overwhelmed. My living situation was not the best, as in like I had just a very small space basically, but the location was prime. I remember being on the phone with my parents literally like that night, or like a day after I had arrived, and I was thinking like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna like fly home in a few days. I'm not gonna go through with this. I feel overwhelmed. I don't know anybody. So I think one tip that I have when it comes to moving abroad is the feelings that you feel when you first land in that country, or even leading up to it. Don't think that it's gonna feel like that forever, and don't just like on a whim within a few days or a week of arriving somewhere just back out and like ditch it, because I was honestly feeling just so overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, out of my comfort zone. Like I've never felt those kinds of feelings before that and since specifically. And I ended up loving Australia. It completely, once I let time sink in and just get used to things and establish a routine, establish things that I liked doing, and things just became more familiar, that really changed things for me. And so just don't let your initial fears and what you think that that's what it's going to be like. And then when you actually get in country, think about when you're home in your daily life, what you're used to, like what brings you joy and happiness, and try to find those similar things. They don't have to be the same necessarily, because a lot of us, you know, new chapters, we want different things, but try to see if you can implement some of those things into your routine in this new country. I was used to being a student, and so having like that Monday through Friday, like going somewhere to be productive as a student, the internship basically replaced school for me. And then outside of that, all of us, you know, humans are social creatures, so trying to find friends can always be complicated, especially when you're outside of like a school setting. But for me, I've noticed over the years that I've gotten a lot of joy out of having like different volunteer positions at like animal shelter, or like in childcare or something like that, or doing like soccer, for example, or having like, I'm religious, so going to like, you know, church, or doing like a Bible study or something like that. Try to see what you can find and do in this new country. So for me, I was able to find a church in downtown Melbourne, and they were very welcoming with open arms, and it was a very like young, youthful environment. A lot of people were my age, which was great. They had after church like drinks and dinner, so I did that and I made friends. And then along with that also, they had like Bible studies or get together like on, you know, once a week, like on a Wednesday or something like that. So I did that as well, so that really helped me. And of course, if you are able to have people that you know that live kind of nearby visit you, or you visit them, that would be also awesome. I didn't know anybody in Melbourne at the time, but I knew people in Brisbane and Perth. I was able to make a trip out to Perth. I was able to have my friends from Brisbane come to Melbourne, and so I was able to make that work. And of course, when you're moving abroad, you're in a new place, so travel, and I think that's one of the most exciting things. So fill your time when you're able to with fun travel trips, whether they're day trips or week-long trips or whatever it may be. So with me on the weekends, I did several different day trips. I went to like an animal sanctuary. I went to this like cute little train thing. I don't know how to describe it. So because I was interning, there's a bit more flexibility, and I asked to have essentially like a week and a half or so off. And I basically then did a Kentucky trip, if you know those. I've done a video comparing Kentucky with some other trips. It's basically a group travel trip focused for people in their 20s and 30s. And I basically flew up to Sydney and met one of my actually high school friends, because she'd always wanted to go to Australia. She owns a parrot that's native to Australia, and it's her dream to see them in the wild, which she got to do. So since I was living in Australia, perfect chance. And we started in Sydney. We spent our trip left in Sydney, so we wanted a few days to actually see Sydney. So we were in Sydney for a few days, and then we went up the coast from Sydney to Cairns. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's such a hard word for me to pronounce. But we got to see all those places. Basically, the point I wanted to make with this Kentucky trip, which apparently I didn't make, is that I think when you are moving abroad alone, a great option is to take one of those group travel trips. I recommend Kentucky or EF College Break, and that is a great way for you to be able to travel and meet other people as well and make friends. And honestly, I feel like when I go on these trips, half of the tours, if not more than half, are people who also are traveling alone. So it's just the perfect opportunity, and highly recommend that option. And when I was done with my internship in Australia, but before flying back to the States, I flew to New Zealand and spent, I want to say like a week there. And I had a friend who wanted to go to New Zealand. Because I was there, she flew and had it be a perfect opportunity. So that's another great thing too. And I had a friend actually also at the time be doing a working holiday visa in New Zealand as I was doing in Australia. So it felt, when I started, like I was so alone. And I like that first week was freaking out and thought I wouldn't be able to do it. Things just started to fall into place. I started to, you know, find a great church group. I started to make, you know, day trip plans and have a lot of fun with that. I had, you know, my friend come to Australia and we did Australian trip together. I remembered I knew people around Australia and we did trips to different parts of Australia together. And then after that one Kentucky trip ended, there was a girl on that trip that was doing a gap year. And so she actually was staying in Australia for quite a long time, just for fun. And so because I was in Melbourne, she decided to go to Melbourne for like about a week or so and just hang out with me. And then I knew people that happened to be in New Zealand. So it's like things just kind of fell into place. And I think a lot of the times we want to know everything that's going on and we want to be able to seriously plan things. But I think learning and actually reflecting as I'm filming this video, a lot of the times things just organically happen and fall into place, and you can't ever fully predict that, but that's just kind of the beauty of life. I don't know if I'm getting like really deep here, and especially with COVID just teaching us, like, we never truly know what's around the corner. So sometimes if you just have a need, you know, an inkling, a pit in your stomach feeling that you just want to do something, want to go somewhere, just give it a try. You can always move back, you know, even if whatever it is, like, there's always the opportunity to move back. And then another point I wanted to make is that there's technology, obviously, which is a beautiful thing because I was able to easily call my friends and FaceTime them and family members and all of this all the time. Funny enough, I currently live with my family, but when I'm like far away, especially in a new situation, I find myself talking to my family more with the whole phone plan situation. There's like, I think, a little SD card that you could just pull out, and you just pull out the American one and don't lose it because you'll want to use it when you go back to the States. But if you go to like a phone store, airports usually have them, so I just do it straight at the airport when I land. If you get a new SD card, they put it in your phone and you have a new phone number, and you basically use it like as a local, pretty much. Just tell people your new phone number, and there wasn't any crazy charges or anything like that, so that was really nice. I knew going into Australia I was just gonna be there for, how many months was I there for? Like 4 or 5, which doesn't seem that long, but at the time it felt like forever. I don't know, it's just kind of funny looking back at it now, like how scared I was to do it. And then once I got there, how freaked out I was, but then how it ended up being, and all the good memories that have come out of it, and how much I've learned and grown. And yeah, if you have any questions about moving abroad, or if you are and just want to let me know, please let me know down below. I'm so happy that I was able to go and live abroad for a few months in Australia. It was definitely all worth it. So I think sometimes when we take the biggest leaps of faith is when we grow the most, and when we learn the most, and are the most best memories that we have. So definitely happy that I was able to do that. And when I first had that idea spark in my mind to move to Australia on a working holiday visa, I did not think I was actually gonna have the courage to do so. But here I am a few years later, which is crazy to think. It's a few years later, and I have done that, and it's still like some of my favorite memories. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.